fight fans. Okay. Caleb Plant upset, upset, upset. Bryce Productions high. Cisco Perez, Resendis wore Plant down. Yeah, he beat the shit out of him. He beat him like pretty much what Canelo did, but what we do know about Resendez, Armando Resendez, is it actually is Resendis, but Armando sparred Plant for the Canelo preparation. So go figure for that. And it just goes to show you people. And again, we talked live yesterday about PBC and Al Haymon and how the mistake they make, like a lot of them, but like Al Haymon with PBC Fox, they have made it fucking they have reeked the here to high heaven with the amount of times they try to build a fight and build a fight and build a fight. And they spend so much time trying to build a particular fight instead of having the goddamn fight. You know what I mean? Like, give us the fight that we want. Ever since Caleb slapped the shit out of Jamal Charlo, and we all know Jamal Charlo is the big Charlo. We know he's the big dude. He ain't the little Charlo. He ain't the Charlo that fought Canelo. You see what I'm saying? He's the bigger twin. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jamel Charlo's Danny DeVito. Right? That dude. So ever since he slapped him, we already knew a fight could have been mustered up after that, because that's something that never got settled, because it wasn't an exchange. It was more like an assault, because, Jamal, touched his beard, which is disrespectful, but damn, he didn't slap him. He got slapped for that shit. So that being said, we all pretty much knew, like, okay, that is the fight to make that you guys could have made a couple years ago when it happened, but it didn't happen like that. So it was weird, you know what I mean? And they're trying to build it. And I'm like, there's nothing to build between someone that slapped the shit out of the other person. There's nothing else to build. Like, there's no need to build Jamal, Jamal or Jermel Chart. No, what's his fucking name now? Miller. Jarrell Miller versus Anthony Joshua. There's no need to build that fight. There's no need to build that at all. There's no need to, well, let's let them fight and let this guy fight, and then if they win. No, damn all that shit. There's no need for a tournament preparation when the fight's already there to be served on a platter. You guys understand me? Like, there is no reason for that fight to build. And poor little Lamana got the shit beat out of him. Thomas got beat up. He was little anyway. The last I seen of Thomas, he got knocked out by Lada at 154. So if he got knocked out by Lada at 154, he has no business being there. None at all. Honestly, I thought this was a dangerous fight for Plant, but didn't expect to be this easy. Well, I mean, it looks like Plant's on the down spiral. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what normally happens with fighters. They'll have that big fight. They'll have that fight that gets them those meals, those M's. And then after that fight, they may have a good fight after that. Maybe a good couple fights. And then after that, you've just seen a nosedive of activity and interest and, overall performance from those fighters. You get that. You see that a lot. Won't never see Charlo versus Jacobs or Charlo Plant. What a shame. We won't see it, Cisco Perez, because those guys over there, Tim Brown and company, those cats, always trying to build something that they have no fucking business building. It's already built. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, let's build this. No, it's already there. Just make the fucking fight. Make the fight happen. And that's the problem with today. They're trying so hard to make so much money on a dying market, to the point they're losing and killing the market that much faster. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. It's like, look, why do that? And you don't have to do that at all. The hunger goes once they reach a certain level. Yeah, and I think a certain amount of money too. And I think Caleb Plant was just pretty much just putting it in and, getting those checks lined up. He got a child. He got, he probably, I think he has 2 kids now. Got a beautiful wife. So I think he's just pretty much setting up home base, and he has goals and stuff like that. But if you're not fighting at your peak and you've made the highest check of your career and that's already been said and done, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. Plant clearly lost tonight. And here's the thing, though. You can tell by how the scorecards were, they were still trying to find an angle how Caleb Plant should win. There shouldn't have been no split anything. That's the crazy thing. There should have been no split nothing. That should have been a unanimous decision win for Armando. That's what it should have been. Period. And you look at guys like Berlanga, he's there, he's going to be talking shit. You know what I mean? And, I don't really, he's going to talk because, he's one of those guys that he has something to say. He will have something to say. So it's going to be said. That's the rival. And that's another fucking fight that we will probably never see. Stuff like that gets me. You know, so I would rather see, um, give me Belonga versus Mungia. That would be a good fight if they can make it, but I'm not sure. Bad scorecards happen way too much in boxing. Yeah, it does. It really does, and this is no exception. But another thing I want to talk to you guys about is the referee. Harvey Dock was doing a shitty job. And that dude, he is one of those guys, though. You can tell that is either he's on the take or he's definitely favoring one over the other. You've seen it in too many fights where you have Harvey Dock, where he gets to a point where you can clearly see him either not do enough, turn the blind eye, or interfere too much. It's either one of three, right? That is him all day. And it's crazy because I remember times, examples. You guys remember Lamont Peterson versus Amir Khan? Amir Khan came over to fight Lamont Peterson. I believe it was in D.C., and that's in the stomping ground of like Harvey Dock and Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is from D.C. Harvey Dock, I want to say he's from like Jersey, somewhere on the East Coast. But the way that fight was refereed, you had a guy, because Amir Khan was beating Lamont Peterson to the punch in pretty much every exchange in that fight. Amir Khan was just, and it was crazy. Why was fucking 2 points deducted from Amir Khan in that whole fight? That was crazy. He was deducting points like, what the fuck? He was deducting points like crazy, in that fight. And Amir Khan lost that fight, which was crazy as hell. Yeah, he's from Jersey. Okay. Yeah, he's on the East Coast. That's right up from DC people. You know what I mean? That's like you don't understand how close that shit really is. Maryland to DC, DC to Philly, then Philly to Jersey. It's right there, bro. It's just like right there. It's nowhere. You know what I mean? So you could see that versus a Brit, you know what I mean? Like, nah, that was definitely favoritism all over. This shit was no exception. Plant was the PBC guy, sweet hand Plants, the black light-skinned black fighter. Right? Yeah. He was the favorite guy. He was that favored dude to win because they needed that fight to go a certain way because this was the Bridger fight. Who you got, Worley or Honey? Man, I don't know. I know that's going to be a pretty big fight, and I'm not stepping out on any fights, and I'm not overlooking Hooney at all. What I have to do though is do my research on Hooney because I don't really know enough about him to make an observation. I don't know to make a decision yet. You know what I mean? I know Wardley, I know his style. You know what I mean? Anybody that wears like cheerleader like trunks, they can move. They're meant to move based on their attire, right? Um, After the sixth round, Caleb's trainer giving dirty instructions. You got to go low, go low. You hear me? Telling Caleb to hit the man on the balls. Shit ain't working, bruh. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Whoa. Whoa. That's crazy. The J. Roos theory, Charlo looked pretty good. Yeah, Charlo beat it, but Charlo's supposed to look good because he fought a damn junior welterweight. That's why. His big 175-pound ass. He probably 180 pounds. Listen, I'm telling you, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jermell Charlo's Danny DeVito in retrospect because he's a lot bigger than his brother. You can tell looking at those two that ain't Jermell. Jermell and Jamal, they might have looked alike shit 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like in 2014, 15. But, twins, I know a certain amount of twins and what happens if they're identical. What happens at a certain point when they grow up and grow apart pretty much into their own person, they're going to change. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see one get either bigger or one be smaller or one be a little taller and you know what I mean, what so have you. And that's what happened with that. And Jamal Charlo is a lot bigger than Jermell Charlo. And Jamal Charlo's a big boy. He can move up where Jermell Charlo had no business being at 168 at all. Manny going to lose bad. Manny, so be it. I just don't want him permanently hurt. But I just want his ass whooped enough to know I don't belong here no more. And it's going to be a sad realization to him. But then again, we will learn how delusional a guy like Manny Pacquiao may be. Because he got his ass whooped against Ugas. But Ugas wasn't a power puncher. And I think God overlooked Manny. He takes care of his children. He overlooked Manny. Because you know who that shit could have been? Aha! You know that could have been. Who was going to fight Manny? Errol Spence, or who was the other guy? Or was it Terrence Crawford? Was it Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence? It was another fighter that wanted to fight Manny. And they were trying to pick and choose which one of those fighters? Which one of those fighters? Yeah, Hopkins is the different animal though, bro. Let me tell you why Hopkins is. Hopkins is a different animal because Hopkins believed in taking care of his body to the utmost, to the most elite. Bernard Hopkins took care of his body equivalent to someone like Alexander Usyk, and probably better because but Hopkins is Muslim. He don't drink. He don't smoke. He don't party. The dude rests. He gets massages. Probably like Floyd. Floyd don't do any of that shit. Floyd's around it. And it's kind of weird to see, Floyd and smoky ass strip clubs and stuff like that, but he's a freak too. They're just a freak of nature. Those guys are an exception. Caleb Plant was never really that guy that was known to knock people out. He knocked out old ass Darrell and he beat up Uzcategui, and you know what I'm saying? He got stopped by Canelo in the 11th round. But I mean, he never shown that he was just this knockout guy. He had good hands and good combinations, sweet hands, but he wasn't known for that. Kurt, my man, was the Plant fight close? No, it was not. He got his ass beat. He got his ass beat. He got broke down systematically by a dude that was a little taller than Canelo. In fact, he was the dude that he prepared him for Canelo when Canelo beat his ass up. So, yeah, so the dude definitely knew him. Yeah, Plant never wowed me. He didn't. I mean, I seen him and I admire his story as a human being and what the trials and tribulations that he went through. But like Caleb Plant wasn't really ever all that. He was quick. He had speed. You know what I mean? But he wasn't what we thought. Like, he wasn't what the hype was. I didn't really get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, besides just being a good dude, he was kind of rough around the edges. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, you know, across the tracks, white guy, you know, grew up in a tough neighborhood, tough environment, made it out of that environment. You know what I mean? So somebody that Candace Owens would love. But other than that, you know, it's like, or maybe she wouldn't. But, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Plant is yeah, mediocre. He is mediocre. I mean, but I think more so now because he's getting older. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Plant's been around for a while. I seen Caleb Plant, and I admired his work then. I mean, he's a good boxer, but he's not a puncher. When it comes to brawling, he's not that dude. You seen him tonight. If you guys didn't see tonight, Caleb Plant got hit, got hurt, got broken down, got bashed, got battered by Resendis. Resendis beat him up. And in exchange, Caleb Plant held. He held. He clinched. He jabbed and he grabbed. That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. Okay? That's exactly what he did. Hold on a second, guys. So that's the thing with Caleb, you know. Caleb held, grabbed, clinched most of the fucking night. And guess what? Harvey Doc let him do it. Harvey let him do it. And it made you think, like, dude, more of this shit here. And you can tell who was the favorite fighter. You can tell who they wanted to win. And that's why I love boxing. I love this sport that I hate so much, because some things happen in boxing that nobody can stop. Nobody, I repeat, nobody can stop certain things in boxing. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Even though you knew it was attempted to happen, people were trying, the powers that be, they wanted Caleb to win because they wanted Caleb versus Jermell Charlo, because those guys are the surviving Al Haymon stable. PBC, Showtime, whatever you want to call it. They are the surviving stable of fighters that are still on that platform. That's why. And they want to make sure that they try to do right by these fighters. They'll put up these high expensive ass pay-per-views. You know, it's PBC business. They're trying to take care of their own. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't be mad at Al for doing that, because that's one thing that Al will do, is take care of his fighters. You can't, you know what I mean, until the point where he couldn't pay them, or he was paying them like daily or weekly installments of some shit he could have and should have paid them up front at one time. You see what I'm saying, guys? So that, that's some bullshit. Oh, this is not a pay-per-view event. Just, oh, damn, that's big. Okay, cool. Damn, that's a surprise. That is a surprise. So, hey, but I guarantee you, Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant, if they would have fought, that would have been pay-per-view for sure. AJ versus Jared Anderson, early prediction. I I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, because see, if AJ touches Jared, he's through. You know what I'm saying? If AJ catches Jared, he's done. He's done. Because AJ can punch. People forget how hard that guy hits. You know what I mean? He hits hard. He hits hard, bro. The pressure of the weigh-in didn't hit my YouTube feeds. Well, no, I mean, it wasn't nothing spectacular, It was just one guy, Resendis. He was happy, he was like Hakeem from Coming to America. I'm very happy to be here, right? That's pretty much what he said. You know, and other than that, you know, Caleb, you know, calm, cool, selective, you know what I'm saying, trying to be nonchalant and saying what he's going to do and all this, that, and the other. That's it. Are you going to Dustin versus Max on July 19th in NOLA? I don't know about that. July 19th, I'll be working, man. I'll be right here in Texas. AJ is probably the only guy to have properly rocked Dubois. You know what? That's true. The only thing is, he didn't do it earlier. You know, talking about Joshua and Dubois, I don't see why that like Dillian White or Jared Anderson. Now, understand this though. Keep in mind, AJ fighting one of those guys is not just a piss poor disappointment, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's not a piss poor disappointment because AJ is just like Wilder at this point. They both lost their last fights and they both are up for a tune-up. These are tune-up fights. Dillian White is not a high-profile fight anymore. You know what I mean? For one, he already beat Dillian White 10 years ago. And for two, Jared Anderson already been beaten. We don't know how much of psychological damage that he's taken. Because McCauley gave him an old-fashioned Congolese ass whooping. He got beat, battered, beat up, slapped around, and then knocked down several times until the ref was like, bro, we can't do this no more. Bars. Is it true Ennis is sparring Canelo? I don't really know. It's a rumor. It's not set in stone. We haven't seen them together. We haven't seen him go anywhere near the Reynoso gym. And hell, at this point, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for not going. Because shit, it looks like everybody that goes in that gym comes up pissing hot. You know what I mean? Like you walk through the door of the Reynoso gym and you must take this before you come into my gym. If you do not take, you do not come. Okay? Open, 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 open. Jared Anderson went life and death with Charles Martin. Someone AJ KO'd in one round. Well, understand, AJ knocked out Charles Martin in 2016 for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world, Craig. Come on, bro. That was a different AJ then. You know that. That ain't the same AJ. That AJ would have fought you. That AJ would have fought you life and death. It's a reason why the AJ that fought Andy Ruiz fought the way he fought during those rounds. If you remember, he actually tried to knock out Andy Ruiz. You know, it just, he couldn't hurt Andy no more because Andy hurt him more than AJ hurt him. Andy had a chin of solid fucking rock. You know what I mean? He was on his shit. Moses should fight Charles Martin. Hey, why not? Why not? And because I think they're pushing Moses too fast anyhow. Shit, Jared Anderson fought him. And you ask yourself, who's more, well, okay. Who is more experienced at this point? I mean, honestly. Let's do this. Let's do a poll. Fuck it. Let's start a poll. Boom. There we go. All right. Supposedly it's Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he's pissed off Turkey past the point of no return because he wasn't done. After Turkey, I guess, fired him from the idea of fighting whoever the hell. Ennis, I guess. I don't know. He went and did some more trolling. Cause so T.O., I don't know. I don't know what's up with T.O. You know, Moses is more experienced. I wouldn't put him in with anyone in the top 10 until late 2026. Supposedly it's Devin Haney versus okay. You know, I don't know though. I mean, I said experience. So ask yourself this question. Experience doesn't mean better necessarily. Experience means who have they been in the ring with? What the opposition is which they've encountered. That's what I'm saying. So before you vote, it's not a question of who you think that's better. I didn't ask that. I didn't ask who you think is better, Jared Anderson or Moses Atoma. Because at this point, people are going to read that with their eyes closed. I'm asking which fighter is who is more experienced at this point of their career. That's what I asked. So think about what I said. Don't go off emotion. Oh, Moses is better. I didn't ask that. I asked you which one and who's more experienced. Atoma versus Joshua would be fun, but it'll never happen. Nah, I mean, unless Joshua loses again and they just need that, they're just going to use him for other fighters to get a name on their resume to boost up their morale and their reputation. You know what I'm saying? In their resume. That would be the only reason you would fight AJ, or you would see a fight with Moses and AJ. And keep in mind, AJ trained with Moses Atoma because they're all at Ben Davison's gym. You know what I mean? Because he was with Ben with Otto Eileen. He was with Ben with Francis Ngannou. He was with Ben with Danny Dubois. In that stretch, he was with Moses Atoma. So he spent a lot of time with Moses. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that shit anyway. That would be dumb. And he goes in there and beats the shit out of AJ. That shit will be a massacre. And because he knows him. He sparred him. He knows what to expect. He knows what AJ does. He knows his habits. It wouldn't be a good thing. And if I was Eddie Hearn, I wouldn't go nowhere near that black Slavic British killer. Hell no. You ain't putting my boy in there, not my damn golden goose. I ain't gonna throw him in there and get this shit beat out of him by this young hungry ass lion. This young quiet, hungry, silent killing ass lion. What are you, crazy? What are you, out of your mind? Hey Kurt, Dominique Brazil still fighting or retired? He's done. He's been done, bro. He got beat up. His last fight was against Otto Island after a 2-year layoff after getting knocked out by Deontay, the Bronze Bomber, to this day, Wilder. Okay. Yeah, Anderson has been tested. Moses has not. So. So it's Anderson, White, then Tyson Fury. No, it's just Anderson and White, which makes sense. Because as soon as I seen that Tyson Fury shit, I'm like, Tyson Fury just told everybody that he's not fighting until he says anything else. Stop putting his name in every fucking thing. For one, people are getting sick of it. For two, this shit's already burnt out. It's already burnt out. I always feel sorry for Otto Weiland. I don't know why. Why you feel sorry for Otto Weiland? How come? Shit, Otto Weiland, I mean, he's had some good fights. I mean, he had the AJ fight. He, Dillian White, I feel, ducked him. And then he got his ass beat up by Tyson. And Tyson just showed him how much better than he was. And I was embarrassed because, I was really embarrassed. Man, let me tell you something. You guys remember that live stream? That was probably one of the worst live streams I probably ever had and probably will ever have. I know that was the absolute worst. I mean, 30,000, it probably made about 40,000 views, but it was absolutely cringeworthy. And you know what I mean? And what people didn't understand is like, that was probably one of the worst days that I can remember having as of late. And that was 3 years ago, and for one, I was going for Dillian White. For two, I was drunk as a fucking fiddler's bitch. For three, I was tired and delusional because we've just worked 17 hours because we worked from the day before on to the morning. We didn't get off till like 10 o'clock. We went in at like 8, 9 or some shit. You know, the stunt coordinator got into a fist fight with the fucking first AD, so it was crazy. So we sit around and found to try to see if we had a job. I was going through one of the not the worst breakup, but I was going through a breakup at the time. I didn't get any sleep, didn't eat shit, which was fuck up number one. Number two, I was like, oh, I got some crown because I was hoping that Dillian White was gonna knock out Tyson Fury and get his ass out of there. You know what I mean? Because I thought that Dillian White deserved his opportunity, and I felt that he was going to, take it, you know, take that advantage and and use that particular opportunity to do what he needs to do. None of that shit happened. He got his ass beat up, mixed, outboxed, out punched. You know, Tyson was always first. Tyson was fucking playing with Dillian White. This. I was like, oh my God. He was whooping Dillian White like he was whooping Wilder. I was like, damn, this can't be happening. But I wasn't like that. Oh, this can't be happening. This fucking bullshit. Bullshit. Then I was like, yeah, dude. Then it was crazy. And that was bad. That was bad. I could talk about it now because I mean it's 3 years old, but that didn't help at all. You know what I mean? Because people will remind you of that shit. So I'm there to tell you, hell with it. Yeah, yes, I was drunk, people. I was wasted. I was tired. I didn't have nothing on the gut, and I was absolutely delirious. People thought I was on drugs, and I'm like, no, I was on that Crown with Sprite on the rocks because I had a fifth, and I started drinking it, and then I was arguing because I was going through a breakup too. So I was, wait a minute, bitch, And then the live came on. I was already tore up. I was already, hey guys, hey. This is Kurt Bell, kind of bunch, Kurt Bell, kind of bunch. I saw that shit. I'm like, oh no, because I think I deleted it, and I don't think I ever deleted a live stream that big. But yeah, it had to go. What's up, bro? Good fight, right? I don't know. Hey, Jay Roos, I was in Conyers because I was there for like. Because I was there at different times. So I was there for like 2 weeks, then I was there for another 2 weeks, then I was there for like 9 days, then I was there for like 4 days, then I was there for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I was back and forth. Yeah, I kind of sounded kind of like Bob Arum, a young ass Bob. What's going on? Yeah, good luck. Well, I don't know what it is about drunk people. They start fucking, they can't keep their mouth straight. That's why when cops can pull you over like, you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? You all right? No, you're not. No, you've been drinking with me that day, Jay Roos. If you would been kicking it then, you'd be like, oh, no, come and pick you up. Driving, eyes hole in one eye. Come on. Finally passed out around 7 that night. And when I woke up, I think the live was still on. I think the live was still on. And I was like, oh, God. The only saving grace was I think that I had hit the camera and turned the camera off. If I left that camera on, y'all would have just seen some dude laying across the bed. I'm like, dude, that's fucking cringeworthy. This dude has ruined his whole channel in one day. Because I don't know how many I had. Like in 2022, I probably had about 60,000, 70,000. Because, I mean, when it got to 70,000, shit just went. Just slowed down. Kurt going wild. Yeah, bro, that was crazy. As much as Wilder was a chance, Allen wins by decision. I remember that shit, Kurt. Yeah, that was bad, bro. It was bad. And people just really didn't understand me because it was just bad. And it was like, and I was even thinking to myself, I'm like, this gotta be the devil. Because everything that could went right, it was Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong, did go wrong. And yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Everything that went wrong went wrong. Mm-hmm. Hope for you a good day, Unc. You know, you hear that Unc shit, and I don't know you, so that means you're trying to say I'm old. You know, they be calling old people Uncs these days. What's up, Unc? Hey, what's up, Unc? Manny P seeking a Tank Davis fight if he wins over Barrios. And guy like Tank hears some shit like that. You know what Tank's gonna do if when he hears the idea of fighting old ass Manny Pacquiao? He gonna do this. You know how fucking Tank does. Tank smiles and shit all big. Motherfucker. That he hear that shit. Oh yeah. Because see, Manny's a little dude anyway. He ain't no big dude. In fact, if he had to eat like they said, he'll make 135. He'll make 135. He was talking about going to 140 anyway after he did all that stuff where he did all that stuff. Oh, according to Twitter, 25 above is Unk. Really? That's fucking crazy. What do you call me? Double Unk? Shit. Can't call Loma old. Now he's spring chicken compared to Pat. I don't know. I wouldn't say that either because for one, Vasily Lomachenko. How many amateur fights did he have? Damn near 400. That's a lot of amateur fights, bro. That's in matter of fact, it's too many. It's just too many. You know what I mean? And one thing I do agree with Floyd. You know, Floyd, Money Mayweather did say this, and it made a lot of sense. He was like, "Listen, nobody told Vasily Lomachenko. Nobody told Vasily Lomachenko to stay in the Olympics that long. Nobody told him to stay amateur that long. So he wasted his career. He wasted his career. So Lomachenko he's the past. Lomachenko old. Tank Davis is the future. Mm-hmm. You know." And keep in mind this, Lomachenko was a guy that wanted everybody, but because I think he knew, like, let me use what I got, what I still have, to beat all these dudes, to take them all to school, to kick all their asses, so I can show them what I got now, not 2 or 3 fucking years from now. And needless to say, that's when the fight was trying to get made years later. See, everybody knew Floyd didn't want Tank nowhere in there near Lomachenko because Lomachenko is one of them type of dudes that will take everything that you have and use it against you. He was that good. See, everybody talk about Usyk now, but people really didn't talk about Usyk when Lomachenko was doing his thing. See, that's a big difference. Kurt, who wins, Anthony Joshua versus Frank Sanchez? Now, I don't know because word around the campfire, guys, Frank Sanchez is supposedly not really the same type of fighter he used to be after that surgery. And I have to remind people, when having surgery, you're mostly limited based on the success of the surgery. You see what I'm saying? Let me give you guys an example. My father had a surgery. If you guys can remember, my dad had a back surgery 3 years ago, back in February of 22. And guess what? Unfortunately, my father is never the fucking same. He has never been the same. In fact, he had a procedure. He has 2 procedures. One to like give him pain meds, and then for 2, they had to like deaden a fucking nerve that was killing his lower back. So when they start chopping on you, you are never the same. So, plus Sanchez is 68. He's 60. Nah, cut it out. Marlon Thornell in the building. Counterpunch to you. 100% of amateur fights for Loma. Hundreds. Yeah, man. CP to you, Marlon, in the building. Yeah, I think that's just unfortunate, honestly. I think that's just unfortunate, you know. He said, hell, he's 68 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. You know what one of my pet peeves is? I got to get this off my chest. Um, I had a friend of mine, I guess, an acquaintance, whatever the fuck you want to call her. She calls me. It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. She calls me, and she's in my age bracket, right? So she's either 40, 41, maybe 42. So she starts talking about some guy that she's dating that's younger than her. And the thing is, she started talking about like, oh well, I feel 25, this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was thinking, because I haven't talked to her in a long time. And I was like, well, damn, how old are you? And she was like, I don't tell people my age. And I'm like, but you just talked about how young you felt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I still don't. I don't talk about my age. And I'm like, okay. And this is what I said to her. I said, listen, you telling people or refusing to say your age is a red flag, because what people are going to think, they're going to think that you are older by default. Because when people stop saying that shit, they're old. You're just fucking old. And then she goes off like, oh, you know what? That's why I don't date old guys like you. I'm like, old, motherfucker? I'm not old. How many white hairs do you see? I don't use just for men, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But and then she's like, yeah, well, I don't tell people my age because they put you in a category. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you're worried about somebody putting you in a fucking category when you don't want to tell them your age, but you bring up age on how young you feel. If you didn't think that way or feel that way, if you didn't want people to ask you that, don't bring up age. Nobody asked you what fucking age you were until you start bringing up how young you feel. But anyway, I blocked her. I told her, don't ever fucking call me again. Kurt, what about Anthony Joshua versus Hrgovic? Who wins? Joshua will still beat Hrgovic, and probably he'll knock Hrgovic out. And it will be an accomplishment because Hrgovic has not technically never been stopped. He's never been stopped like that, like dropped. Like, who has done that? Probably Zhang, dropped him, but it was like, a lot of people thought that was even a slip. But we all know Zhang can crack. So I think at what point of that slip had something to do with the force of the punch from Big Bang Zang. You know what I mean? So if AJ fights Hrgovic, which wouldn't be a bad fight, because Hrgovic's on his way back, and, he's talked a lot of shit to AJ too, and AJ remembers that. And I'm going to tell you something strange about AJ. AJ decides, like, you seen him in that Days of Reckoning. He heard what Hrgovic was saying, and he was just like, kind of like, looking down, because he was on the top podium and those other guys were on a, on a bottom row, and he was looking down at their ass. That's why he was mostly looking like, like, what are you about to say to piss me off so I can tell you to go fuck yourself? The only reason I think, and this is why I was so disappointed in Wilder, because Wilder had an opportunity. He had a platform. He had the world looking at him in front of people that he has never been in front of in that way, ever. He had every opportunity to show us who that Wilder was, and unfortunately for us, that mad ass to this day, Wilder was not living any longer. That motherfucker died. He died with some doses of ayahuasca. How are you doing, Kurt? I'm all right. I'm all right. Wilder got soft. That dope made him soft. Damn drugs. He needed to get away from Taylor Swift. That's a fine young woman, though. But you know something, though? You got a lot of those guys, Miss Jackson, Telly Swift. Miss Jackson, that's the one that Floyd used to date back in like 12. Then she got with Nelly, and then she got with somebody else, and then someone else, and else, and else. You know how that shit goes. Body count, body count, body count, body count. Right? So Wilder is completely washed up. He'll lose to a big name again and blame the training camp again. Well, that'd be a third time. I mean, he'll whoop that guy, and if he goes back up, which he has to, because I think he's looking for those big dollars. But understand, it's pretty much over anyway. Depends on what he does. I just wish the best for him. I wish Wilder shows us who Wilder is one last again. One last again. Show us like who was the bronze bomber. You know what I mean? If he knocked out just somebody else. If Wilder can give us one fucking win over somebody worth of shit, I think that would kind of seal the deal on his legacy, because then you could say, well, hey, at least he beat this dude when, he had the opportunity to fight people that we knew he belonged in the ring with, if that makes sense. So if he whooped just one fucking person, you know what I'm saying? A Bacali or a Bacali, a Caballel, or a Miller, or I mean, there's a lot of people that he could fight. Kurt, who will win? Jarrell Miller versus Aget Caballel. I think Aget Caballel showed us that it don't matter how big you are. I think you can fall just as hard. Because Zilly Zang was a guy I didn't even think he could deal with that type of size and power from Zang coming off. I picked Zang to beat Caballel early, but I picked Caballel late. I didn't think it was going to go 6 rounds, and it was done. He had 6 rounds, and he broke that boy down. And that big grown-ass Chinaman, he broke his ass down in 6 rounds, and it was over with. He made him quit. He made him outwork himself. He came to the body. He stayed at the body. He took air out of those tires that was already half deflated, people. Come on. And I like watching that fight, because I like that body where pat, 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 pat. He gets it in there, and he stuck that damn solar plexus left to the body, right liver shot all night long. Yeah, he could fight Otto Weiland, and like at this point, I wouldn't be too mad about it, because see, Otto Weiland, he lost to Derek Chisora, but before that, who did he lose to? He lost to AJ. So, you know what I'm saying? If Wilder can beat him, at least he can put his name in the circle of those guys. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, he don't have to spam like that. Just cut that shit out. I don't give a fuck about the ducks. I don't care about none of that. Fury and Wilder wrecked each other. I don't know about that, man. I just think, look at it this way. I don't even think they wrecked each other. I think what they did, they made their legacy off of each other. That's real. Because to be honest with you, besides Dillian White, Tyson Fury ain't fought nobody credible since and beat someone credible since. He bullshitted him. So he fought Dillian White. He retired. He comes back after Joshua gets his ass whooped again. He plays games and lies and lies and stalls and lies and bullshits and lies. And then he fights Francis Ngannou. He fights Francis, gets his ass whooped then. Then he goes and does what? He finally faces Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk taps his ass and should have really legitimately stopped him, really. But it didn't. It went to a split decision, and he lost again. Then he lost again. Then he retired again. That's the end of Tyson the Gypsy fucking King Fury. That's it. Tyson Fury hasn't really done too much from Wilder. So what he did, he made his career Wilder. The only thing that really pissed him down the toilet was his honorary Gypsy brother, Joseph Parker, came and tapped that ass too. So what are you going to do? He ain't number 2 no more, is he? Because you're not number 1. Right? So no. Remember, everybody was scared of Joe Joyce? Everybody was scared of Joe Joyce, the way Joyce beat the hell out of Joseph Parker. He beat Joseph Parker into submission. He was strong. He was relentless. He was strong. He's big. Parker stole Fury's thunder. Yeah, he did. You know Fury was mad as hell because of that. That fucking bastard. I took him in for a brother and he made me look bad. Wilder was no one supposed to beat Wilder but me. Bloody Dulce. You trust people, you bring them into your circle. And this is how they do you. The Samoan bastard. Son of a bitch, the Samoan bastard. How dare him? Give me another shot. Give me 4 shots. Hey, you guys want a shot over there? You want a shot? Yeah, you want a shot. Yeah. And then he got whooped again by Zang. And he really can't talk shit now. And that was all last year. So, I mean, that was actually before he fought Alexander Usyk. So that second best heavyweight, Deontay Wilder, you know, that's over the hill mutter bullshit, bro. Kurt Tyson is smart because he made so much money. Well, he spent a lot of money. Well, you guys want cars? You want cars? Let me play with your pussy a little bit and you can buy a car. You can come back to my house so I can ravage you and fornicate with you. You want a car? Shit. Zang has Wilder waving at the crowd. Bow! Hey guys! Bow! Oh! Yeah, it was bad, man. And then I seen my reaction, bro. That reaction, I laughed so hard. It was funny, man. I'm sorry. That shit was funny. It was funny, bro. I'm sorry. It was funny. I can't help it. It was just fucking funny. It was hilarious. You know, the way he did, the way he did that shit, man. He like Zang hit Wilder, and Wilder knew exactly what the fuck Joe Joyce went through. I told you, and Wilder, I told you, if he hits you, man, you gotta duck. You know, you gotta get out of the way of the punches because I mean, the bloke can hit, man. Yeah, you ain't lying, Joe. Hell, that son of a bitch knocked the hell out of me, man. I think he was cheating. Well, you know, I don't know about that, but I know he can bang. He's a good nickname. Damn. Pause. Fucking guys, pause. Stop it. Fuck the pauses, bro. Not everything's sexual. Let's cut that shit out. Pause. Yeah. He's going in strong. Pause. Shut the fuck up. You're killing me with that shit. You know? Not everyone's Diddy's freak off world, okay? Bad boys. Bad boys. Daddy. Calling me a daddy. Now everybody's like, oh man, you heard it, man, to do with calling people daddy. I'm like, yeah, he been doing that. But I mean, let's just be real. It ain't like nobody's never heard of that. That was actually, you know, that was actually a thing. People call people daddy, like, you know, people that speak Spanish, they say papi. They say papi to men. You never heard anyone say, what's up, papi? That's daddy, motherfucker. You know? So, you know, I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just speaking the facts. Shit. Yeah, dude. Yeah, baby. What I got here? Kurt, Jack's man. Let's see here, man. Jermaine Franklin versus Martin McCauley would be interesting. I mean, it would be. Martin McCauley versus Jermaine Franklin. Yeah, but you know something? You know what? He would eventually stop Jermaine Franklin because Jermaine Franklin's shorter, and a guy that short versus a guy that tall like Martin McCauley, uppercut city. Those uppercuts would destroy Jermaine Franklin just because of the style. Because Jermaine Franklin is a tough, gritty fighter that fights for every tooth, nook, and cranny. For every shot, he wants to make his shots count. So he may stay in the pocket too long trying to land a shot, where those shots that he's trying to land, he's going to get countered with 2 for every 1 he throws. I just see that fight, bro. Jermaine Franklin versus McCauley? McCauley's going to chop him up. He's going to whoop on another American, and then he's going to talk shit. I told you, man. I knock him out too, man. I knock all these guys out, man. Parker heals me rematch, man. I fought him in days notice, man. Fought in days notice, man. He needs to fight me too, man. Parker needs to fight me too. It's not fair, man. You got paid, didn't you? Oh, you got paid. Real Joyce girl. We could get a Charlo Berlanga, the Charlo versus WB. Well, yeah, I think that would be a good fight. Jamal Charlo versus Berlanga. Why not? Let's see that fight. Let's see that fight happen. I would like. Hey, I vouch for it. Why not? You know, Jamal Charlo versus Edgar Berlanga. Man, you talk about some thug thizzle. You imagine that though. Imagine the build up between Berlanga and Charlo. You know, both urban hood, street type guys. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Oh yeah. I definitely see that fight. Some shoves, you know, some outbursts, some uproars, some oohs, some ahs, some bitches, some hoes, you know, some N-words. You know, a lot of that will be thrown around, definitely. Yeah, Plant Berlanga, nah. But Plant, he needs to redeem himself. He needs to show that he can make adjustments on the second win. He needs to show us that, because if he can't show us that, he don't need another fight. You know what I mean? Hell, how about Resendis Berlanga? How about that? How about that? How would you guys see a Resendis versus Berlanga? So that means everything you said about a particular person, okay? Everything you said about a particular person, let's see if you can do that as well. Can you do any better? Let's see if you can do any better. Kurt Michael Hunter will become WBA heavyweight champion of the world, mark my words. Jax Mans, I hope so. He deserves it, man. Get this man his flowers. Get this man some real checks. Give this man some real fights. Let him show this man these fighters some real skill when he still can. Because you know, anybody that's 35 years old turning 36, the clock is ticking, people. No cap. You know? That's what he should do. I hope he becomes a WBA regular. I hope he gets in there. I hope he shows what he has. I hope he makes another bounty successfully. You know? Edgar probably would win, maybe. But understand, Edgar's pretty basic, bro. Edgar Berlanga is... I learned when he fought Steve Rolls, the same Steve Rolls that got knocked out by Gennady Golovkin, if you guys remember that. Gennady Golovkin took that boy out quick. He wasn't playing no reindeer games, people. You know? None. He was playing no reindeer games, people. None. So, it is what it is, man. He went life to death with a dude that just knew how to simply box him and stay out of the way of the power shots. And this is what disappointed me about Berlanga, that let me know what level he was on. He said some bullshit like this, and this is the dead giveaway. Oh, man, he just running, man. He didn't want to fight, man. He just running. Motherfucker just running, yo. He was just running. That's all he was doing. He was just running, man. He didn't want no fight. He didn't want to fight, man. He was just running. I'm like, bro, that dude was outboxing you. He was stopping you with a mere jab, you simple motherfucker. That just showed you how simple Edgar Berlanga was, because Steve Rolls, a guy that really didn't have power, like, you know, what's the word? That wasn't known to have power. He wasn't known to have power. Shows you this is how you beat someone that doesn't have footwork, that doesn't have a high ring IQ or anywhere a mediocre height. This is how you do them. Jab, jab, move, jab, jab, move, jab, right hand, jab, move. That's what he did all night to Edgar Berlanga. And Edgar Berlanga, you get mad? You're getting mad because you can't find a way to stop a simple ass pattern that Steve Rose was boxing upon you. That was a boxing pattern. That was a boxing rhythm. And he could not find it. And that showed me right then, Edgar Berlanga, bro, you don't have it. You will knock somebody's head off because he has power. You know, you knock somebody's brains out with power, but that doesn't fucking mean that you're about that life. That doesn't mean that you are where you say you are. No, it just means you're a good puncher. But being a good puncher doesn't mean you can fight Deontay Wilder. A good puncher doesn't mean you can box. Okay, it doesn't mean any of that shit. What it means is you're just a good puncher. But it means nothing if you have no skill behind it. Counterpunch. That's it. So Edgar Berlanga, he can talk all the shit he wants, but, you know, tough kid. I think he's pretty tough. He can be dropped. I think you can knock him down take him with a flash knockdown and shit like that. But other than that, dude, it's more like, hey, it is what it is. It is what the fuck it is. You know, he's basic. But the way he talks, he's like, oh, knock this motherfucker out, yo, knock him out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, if you can catch him, or if the dude's dumb enough to let you, because it's almost like these guys, they can't box. A lot of them can't fight. But they got it in their mind, out of frustration, when someone shows them diversity, they got it in their mind that these guys should actually give them the opportunity to get hit. Like, why don't you let me hit you? How about I fucking don't? Yeah? How about I not let you hit me? What, I look like a fucking idiot? We all know that you can punch, Edgar. We know you got power, but you got to do more than that. You got to show more than that. And when he didn't show that he can cut off the ring and beat fucking Steve Rolls into submission, I knew there was a problem with him. I already knew, like, uh-oh, this guy is basic. This guy has a lot more to learn. But what was his excuse? Man, he running, yo. He just running. Nah, man, motherfucker didn't come to fight. He just came to run. Man, I'm tired of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fight nobody like that. I bet you don't. Because you don't like boxers. Matter of fact, you don't like pure boxers because you don't know it, you don't respect it, because you know nothing fucking about it. Facts. Edgar Berlanga knows nothing about boxing. It makes you think, like, what the fuck were you doing? Because this is what happens with guys. When guys get past the amateurs, depending on how big his amateur career was, because I don't know too much about him. I just know he started making a name for himself based on the power that he had, which was impressive because, you know, you want to see someone get knocked the fuck out. That's true. You know, this is a violent sport, and we want people to get their head knocked off. We just don't want it to stay off. Right? We just want to see somebody get knocked the fuck out. So if that's the case, you know, that's cool, all well and good. But this is what normally happens. What normally happens when they get out of the amateur stage and they get into the pros, they form certain patterns on how they do things or how they get things done. You know what I mean? A right, a 2 and a 3, a 2 and a 3. You know what I mean? A right hand and a left hook and a right hand, a right uppercut and a left hook, a left uppercut and a right hand. It's normally something like that they got in their mind that's already set to say, this is what I'm going to land when I get the opportunity. But if I don't get that opportunity, it won't happen. And that's what you learn, because they discard everything that they've learned in the amateurs. Every fucking thing that they learn in the amateurs, they discard because whatever they started doing to knock people out that were on a certain level works. So if it works, they don't have to worry about nothing else. Since they don't have to worry about nothing else, they don't do nothing else until they get in there with somebody that's worth the shit. They get in there with somebody that can box, move, right hand, slip the two, then come about, circle around, jab, 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 move, keep the distance successfully without them landing their right and their left, or their left, then their right, or their left uppercut and their right, overhand right. Those type of things, when people know, okay, he's going with a 2-3. That's what he's going with. You see what I mean? He's going with a 2-3. Now he's switching it up to a 3-4. We've seen it. They figure out a pattern on somebody that basic, because some of that is that basic. Give you a prime example, Wilder. Jab, right hand, or jab, jab, right hand. It wasn't really too much to figure out with Wilder. He may throw a right alone at some times. That you got to watch out for, because the delivery was quick. But other than that, nothing else was a surprise. You see what I mean? If you give everything you got to a person, and that's a basic limited amount of stuff you know how to do or stuff that you use, somebody can easily outbeat you, outbox you. You don't have to just fight a motherfucker. See, these guys that hit hard, they want you to throw caution to the wind and give them the opportunity. They want the opportunity for you to open up, to be stupid enough to discard your discipline and your focus and your own intelligence so they can get an opportunity because they're so fucking basic. That's just the truth about boxing, bro. That's all it is. So when people like Berlanga be, he running, yo, that motherfucker, y'all, motherfucker running. I don't want to fight nobody like that. You're right. So that means they should never put you in there with no one that knows how to box, because they're going to make you look foolish every time. And in fact, speaking of Caleb Plant, right? Caleb Plant can box. He may be down on the down slope of his career, but the motherfucker can box. So it wouldn't surprise me, people, that Caleb Plant can deal with power, especially people that don't know anything else. You know why he beat Uzcategui? Because Uzcategui had heavy hands and really nothing else. He had an awkward ass style, but he really didn't have anything else to offer. He wanted to mix you up and catch you on the inside with big, huge shots. That's what he was about. And if that's your only game plan, woe be unto you, because that's not enough. It's not enough. So that's what it is. Like, okay, I see Berlanga beating someone like Munguia. Why? Munguia could actually box, and he showed us that. He showed us that in the Gabe Rosado fight. He showed us that in, who else did he fight? Was it Spike O'Sullivan? I think he fought. You know what I mean? He showed us that, hey, I can box. But Mexican fighters have a tendency, regardless of how good of boxers they are, to just throw caution to the wind and start throwing down. It's just in them. It's innate. And people think that's exciting, which it fucking is. However, it's not the smartest thing to do. But, you know, as us as fans, we want to see excitement. Do you think being the smartest person is the most exciting? Hell no, it ain't. It's actually boring. You know what I mean? That's almost like this. Man, he's a good dude, man. And what does he do, man? He just go to work and then come home. That's boring. Nah, man, what'd your son do, man? This motherfucker went to a bar, got drunk, got in a fight. We had to pick his ass up at the police station. Right? That type of stuff. That's the difference between that. That's the comparison of a fighter that is standard, that's focused, that he's not gonna give you anything, that he's not gonna make mistakes, that he's not gonna, do those type of things that give you the opportunity. That's why a lot of good fighters are not very exciting fighters, because they're not going to give you too many openings, and they're going to make mistakes that other people normally do. They're not going to do that, but we want to see somebody get fucking rocked or dropped or knocked out or something. We want to see blood. We want to see bruised eyes and abrasions and accumulation of punching and ass kicking. That's what we want to see. Kurt, I always wanted to see Evander Holyfield versus Michael Spinks. Yeah, it'd be a good fight. You know, Turkey is paying so much money you'd think Bacali would get in shape. Yeah, but Bacali. Okay, this is what we talk about. Let's talk about Bacali just for a second. Martin Bacali has to show us, and this is what I'll tell you guys. If Martin Bacali comes back and he's actually in shape, meaning he's actually did what Billy Nelson said that he's going to do, or else, and he wins and he looks better and he has stamina and he uses good sound judgment and he's able to to keep up a certain work rate and get a fighter out of there, I will take him off the redemption list, because I think now that people are looking at Martin different, now they're putting Moses Atoma in there. That talk was totally acknowledgement of how Martin Bacali has failed from grace. You know what I'm saying? That shit, that Effie Ajagba fight, yeah, he lost all types of damn juice. He lost a lot of stripes. When that fight, Martin Bacali lost a lot of stripes. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to get that back. But I think he needs the opportunity. He has a win, a loss, a draw, and let's see what the next one is. So the third time's a charm, I say, for Martin Bacali. Martin Bacali should be 270. 265, I think, would be better, but I think it's all about how good he feels versus what he's able to do at those weights. Yeah, Ajagba did touch his ass up, and look, Ajagba was in shape. That motherfucker could move and box. You could have swore he was doing the Muhammad Ali impersonation. He just got himself in trouble when he tried that rope-a-dope shit and damn near got his ass roped. You know? So, yeah. Jagba, bro. Jagba. And he couldn't miss Bacali with that big-ass right. You know? But credit to be to really Bacali, because you did see Bacali, take a better punch. You know what I mean? And I think we should ask, like, who hits harder, Parker or Ajagba? You know what I mean? Because I think Martin Bacali could tell us which one does. But naturally, he might say Parker, just because, Effie, your trainer said that I won the fight. Your trainer said that I won the fight. What, man? Then he looked all crazy. I felt bad for him then. I really did. Because the look he made, the look Bacali had, like, it was like, dude, it was embarrassing. You know what, Effie, because, it wasn't like Effie was lying. And because Billy Nelson confirmed it. Like, yeah, I think he lost. So, but you never tell the other guy that. It's bullshit. Kurt, what about Andy Ruiz versus Martin Bacali now? Well, that fight ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. It would be a banger. It would be a banger because I would imagine that Ruiz can take Bacali's punches if Effie Ajagba could. You know what I mean? Even though I think that fight would be a lot closer fought. Like, they would fight in closer proximity than, than a Parker or a Jogba or a Jogba Bacali or than that fight, than Andy versus Bacali. Andy versus Bacali. Andy has to be close enough to throw those wide hooks and backhands. And really, just Andy throws wide anyway. He throws combinations wide, and they're fast, though. And then they're explosive, too. Why do current heavyweights not look like the 80s and 90s? Just different people at different time frames. I think certain things that we have access to now, it may cripple us as people. Cell phones, shit like that. You know what I mean? You think my eyes would be this fucking bad if it wasn't for these phones? Yeah, they would be better actually. You know, but I will never know because we've had this shit for the last 20, 30 years. Skinny fat Ruiz might not have the punch resistance. Now I know he wouldn't. We seen what Chris Arreola did to his little skinny ass with the fat head. He came in looking like a little. He came in looking like he was on Weight Watchers and shit, and got his ass dropped. He couldn't take the punching power. He was too skinny. He ain't have no power. But I think Andy was losing weight too fast. So if you're constantly dropping weight, how can your body get accustomed to that shit? Because you have no stabilizing weight that you're going to stay at. You're just constantly dropping weight down. Your body is going all over the place. You don't know how to act and take that shit. Bobblehead Ruiz. Yeah, Bird. Bird was annoying to me. I couldn't stand fucking Chris Bird. I was so glad when I'm just gonna be real. I could not stand Chris Bird's ass, bro. He was an annoying little motherfucker. You look like a fucking big black chicken. That's how he fought. I couldn't stand that dude, bro. I could not stand that motherfucker. When Ike Barabucci knocked that motherfucker, I'm like, yeah, yeah. Shit. Could not stand that dude, bro. And he got his ass knocked out and Drew went all out his mouth and shit. I could not stand Chris Bird. Because he was a little cocky shit. And then he gets all the way to fucking COVID. And you see him with a bald head and a little white chili Moses ass goatee talking about, oh, I'm coming back to the sport. What? Dude, go home. Saying, oh, I didn't supposed to fight at heavyweight. It hurt my body. Bitch, that was fucking 30 years ago. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Fuck. Now, but no, Chris Bird's good, bro. That style gave people fits, but it showed you the competition that we had. Ruiz broke his hand fighting Miller. Fighting Bacali, he might break something else. I have no idea. Chris Bird told Lennox Lewis he was ducking him. I don't know. I mean, they never fought, though. That was a fight I did want to see, you know? So we didn't get every fight we really want. I know, I didn't. Kurt, Ika Barabucci versus Prime Evander Holyfield. War. I think that'll have been a damaging fight. You know, I think it would have been a damaging fight. I think the fight itself would have been damaging simply based off the fact that Evander Holyfield if he fought someone like Ika Barabucci, their styles were very similar. So it would be someone that would be fighting inside the pocket. Evander would be fighting inside, then he'll try to fight outside and box from the outside, moving in and out. But in times, he'll be trying to bang it out with Ika Barabucci, while Ika Barabucci will be trying to match him energy for energy. So fighting each other, and Evander Holyfield in 1997 versus Ika Barabucci would be a damaging fight for both fighters. I mean, because see, we're not certain that those punches that Ike took from David Tua didn't damage him like that. He could have been a crazy person before that. But the truth is, we'll never know. All we know, those guys together in a 12-round fight broke a record for most punches, I believe, either thrown or most punches landed. I think it's thrown. right? So Ike fought like a bigger Holyfield. Yeah, they fought alike. Them dudes, you know, stop, top, 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 top. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. I would love to see it. That would be a crazy fight though. You know, I'm kind of like certain fights you would love to see. I think what we need to do. I mean, it's all fantasy though, right? Because they ain't fought and they will never fight. So it's no need to even really, you know. But that's the sympathy pains if you know if you really care for fighters and care for people of what they do and how they make the money. You know, Bird actually beat Holyfield, but Mike Tyson couldn't. Well, he fought Holyfield. Holyfield, though, all the damage that he took, the wars that he had, the Quiet Man Ruiz 3 fights, the Riddick Bowe fights, the Lennox Lewis's fights, the man, he fought a lot of people. The Michael Moores, the Mike Tysons, where he lost chunk of an ear. The dude he damn near fought everybody. He didn't fight David Tua. He didn't fight David Tua. He sparred with David though. He knew what it was like to spar David Tua. But he fought a lot of people, man. Wilder Prime was smart, different, man. Yo, Kurt Prime, Galata versus Mercer. I don't know. Maybe Mercer. I think Mercer was more explosive, but Galata was actually a good boxer. If he could just keep his fucking brain straight. Like Galata was nuts. And I think what he did was he was good at putting combinations together, but I think what he did was he just becomes unfocused and starts. I don't know what it was with him. He was absolutely out of his mind. The dude would he beat Lennox like Riddick Bowe should got 2 well whooped ass whoopings. Only if Andrew Galata could have kept his fucking punches north of the belt. This dude hit him way under the belt. It was almost like you understand. You guys know that Riddick Bowe's team, they jumped that motherfucker. They like, bitch, we're gonna beat you up. We're gonna destroy you. We're gonna fuck you up. Because it was almost though, Andrew Galata. Listen, people. It was almost like he was doing this shit purposely, just trying to punish him. Like, I know I can beat you, but I want to hurt you. I'm gonna fucking give you a 2-piece. I'm gonna give you a 1, 2, 3, then an uppercut, then a left uppercut to the ball sack, then a right one to the other ball sack. And I'm gonna make you fucking pain. I'm gonna make you feel these shots. You know what I mean? And he did exactly that. The dude was out of his mind. Or he was just an evil bastard. I don't know. Because I don't know what Galata was thinking, but then do you guys really think Galata was all the way there? You know what I mean? I don't know. He was unstoppable before the emotional breakdown in the rematch against Lewis, and you never seen him again. I mean, you've seen him recently. He got off the dope. He got off the drugs, bro. I think I think Oliver McCall was on drugs bad. And I think what happened, he was probably relapsing, and he probably relapsed, or because I think he was going to church trying to fight the demons and the addiction, the demons that he had. And I think what happened, he either was on the verge of relapsing again, or he had already relapsed. But I don't think he was in a position that he really honestly wanted to fight. I just think that was it Don King? I don't know who he was. I think Don King was managing him. And Don King, bro, he made people fight. He was like, look, you're going to fucking fight or whatever. He made Larry Holmes fight Mike Tyson. You guys don't know that. It's like he owned Larry Holmes. When he used to talk that shit about, oh, come on, write your name down, we'll fill in the rest later. That shit, oh yeah. Yeah, Ray Mercer versus David Tua would be a war, but you know, yeah, Ray Mercer was merciless. Trap for Usyk in London. But back to full circle. This guy's Caleb Plant. He lost. He deserved to lose. Thomas Lamana was too small. He got beat up by Jamal Charlo. I think Jamal Charlo showed, and he did what he's supposed to do tonight. So big up and shout out for Jamal Charlo. Lions only in this bitch, right? So yeah, I mean, pretty good fights. I'm glad when upsets happen because it shows the shift on how boxing's supposed to be moved and how it wants to be moved. You know, based on the powers that be. So got a big day to do tomorrow. Got a personal function tomorrow. One of my best friends, she's getting baptized, so I got to be there for her. So I got to get some sleep at some point. So I do got some videos to pull out for tomorrow. So I'll more than likely go live, probably on a road trip. You know, I'm trying, maybe a road trip live stream. I know you guys don't like those, but I like to do them because it gives me something to do. But reading makes me tired anyway. So I like to be somewhere stationary to actually read them. But anyway, you guys be blessed. Have a great Sunday. And everyone has been Counterpunch. Once again, I do apologize about the day in the live stream because I wanted to go live for that. But it's going to be more fights to come. And I will do my due diligence never to miss them. Peace!